Coming together to share our lives, standing on a thin blue line, giving you some peace of mind on the Blue Family Unity Show. On the Blue Family Unity Show.
All right, guys. So I'm coming at you with my very first guest episode via Skype. This was recorded several weeks back, and I kind of wanted to give a foreword here that this was the very first attempt at a Skype interview. Wasn't my favorite format, but I wanted to share it with you anyhow because it was such a great guest. She has such incredible information. My guest on that show was Cherilyn, and she is pretty amazing. She's part of an organization in Indiana that is doing some tremendous work to help out law enforcement families. And so give it a listen. Give me a little grace here for being a first effort on a non-in-person interview. And they get better after that. So take a listen or watch.
You to tell everybody your name and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Cherilyn. I am a police wife here in Indiana. My husband works for a very small town on the northeast side, so we only have about 5 paid officers, but we find things. It's good times for him. He's very happy there. We've been married for 12 years. He was a correctional officer for the first part of our marriage, and then he's been a police officer now for about 7 years. Yep, he was actually a correctional officer for about 13 years total. Yeah, he started not terribly long after high school, and then it was a job that wasn't ever going to go away, so he's like, there's never not going to be criminals, I guess, in a way. So he's like, job security, I'm good here. But he's wanted to be a police officer since he was in grade school. In fact, his mom kept a elementary school where every year you fill it out, and one of the questions is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And since first grade, it said police officer. Second grade was police officer. I think fourth grade, he said fireman, but then he changed back to police officer.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, my husband pretty much the same way. Always grew up knowing that this is what he was going to do. So I always think that's really cool when you hear that that's like something that has been instilled in them since childhood. What has been the biggest challenge as a wife of a police officer? Like, in your opinion, what do you think is the biggest challenge? There's a ton now. all external, not even internal challenges. External challenges.
Okay. Honestly, I think, unfortunately, to get serious now, I think the biggest challenge has just been having to live our life in the situation where he might not come home today. Our life is planned and executed with the idea that I have to be able to take care of the family by myself. So it was harder at first, obviously, because we didn't really know what that meant at the time. Thankfully, I'm not to toot my own horn, but to toot my own horn. I'm a very strong woman. I'm a very strong, independent person. And so knowing that I would have to carry the family if he never came home was something that I knew I could do, didn't want to do, don't want to do. But, we just have to keep in mind, if we do vacations, can I do them alone? If we move, can I do it alone? Our bills, can I do it alone? Just all that kind of stuff. It puts a cloud over a lot of stuff. And that was very hard for me to wrap my brain around for a very long time. But now it's just normal. It's a normal thing in the background now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's always there. It's in the background, but it's always there. And that's always a constant reality. Now, I happen to know that you are actually very active in the law enforcement community, and you have something really cool called Spouse Survival Kits. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so our spouse survival kits really was born out of just a necessity. There's really nothing given to law enforcement spouses when their spouse becomes an officer. We're very much left to our own devices, hoping that there's a police wife or a police spouse group within the department, which there's very, very often not one. And if there is one, it's usually cliquish, and so it's very hard to kind of get in there. And so my group, Blue Bond, here in Indiana, we're small, but we're mighty. We got together and we created some essential things that we wanted to put in this kit just to give them a leg up, a nice foundation for any spouse, husband, wife, doesn't matter. And really, it probably could go towards any loved one, but that's where we started. And it's going to have, as you know, some books in the kit. One of them is your book. Nice plug. Welcome to the family. And we also have a couple of other authors that are coming into the project. And so those are going to be very helpful guides for them, just to kind of give them an idea. We also have it's called an end of watch packet that is going to be included. This is something that no other profession has to consider. The end of watch packet it basically goes from, it starts with who's getting notified if something happens, emergency contacts, how you want the funeral to go if you need one. But then it also includes banking information, life insurance information, where to find everything, all of the passwords, logins, all of that. That way, the wife isn't left to try to figure it all out by herself or himself. And then we also have information from national programs that we're partnering with. So I also belong to a group called the National Police Wives Association, and we actually just got back from our summit yesterday. Oh my goodness, if we had more time, girl, this was an awesome summit.
It looked amazing. I saw pictures.
Oh man. And it will have information on Project HURT, which is a peer-to-peer support group. It's by cops for cops. So it will, and my husband was with me, and he was very skeptical at first, and now he talked to Charles, who is the founder, and it's good. It is a good program. We also partnered with Blue Help. Blue Help is a program that deals with officer suicide. They help support the officer, the family, give resources to try to stop that aspect of this horrible part of our job. So that information is also in there. We've teamed up with TAC Mobility, which is a newer group out of Arizona, and they have designed exercises and stretching specifically for law enforcement and other first responders. They also have just other mental health tools that you can learn from them, and so they've come on to partner with us. And then there's just other resources in our state that can be helpful. And at the conference, the summit, I was getting, I want to let me come to this, and I'm like, okay, I'll get you the information. So who knows what this is going to turn into, because it started a little small, and now I have a feeling it may be a bigger thing. So I'm really excited. Yeah.
We thank you for that, all of you, for doing that, because it is so needed now more than ever, these resources for families. And a huge reason why I even wrote the book was to for the same reason, to help better the lives of our law enforcement families, and better, stronger, healthier, physically and mentally healthier, makes for better everything.
Yeah.
What amazing things you all are doing out there. I'm so glad we get to share this with more people, because there's so many people who don't know within our community that don't know about all of the resources that are there for them. So this is great.
Yep.
So what, I don't know if this is a hard one, this might be a hard one. What is the best advice you could give to a new law enforcement spouse or partner?
Ooh. There's not really one piece.
So much you want to tell them, right?
There, there is, because there's so many different aspects to this life that you really, you don't know until you're in it. You can try and explain it, but until you're in it. I would say you really, really need to find your grace. You need to find your grace with everything, because you as the spouse are in a position, unfortunately, you are going to have to give. You're going to have to be the bender, and it's not something that a lot of us are used to, because when we, a lot of the spouses out there, that we are very strong spouses, we kind of have to be. So I think giving yourself the grace, giving your spouse the grace, giving your life a grace, you're gonna have to recognize that it's not gonna go the way you thought it was gonna go.
Yeah.
But I think on the flip side, you also need to give yourself your strength, because there are going to be moments where you're going to have to be the stronger one. You're going to have to be the one to put your foot down. You're going to have to be the one that says you're not okay. You're going to have to be the one that says I'm not okay. And that's a little harder for us, because once we get into the life and we see what it's all about, and we get just the little tidbits and the little tastes from our spouses, we don't want to give them our grief on top of what they're already going through, and we don't want to give them our problems on top of what they already have to deal with.
Yeah, it's a balancing act.
It is. It really is. But you have to remember, you are the spouse, and regardless, you come first in your life. The job, it may dictate where you go, but it does not dictate who comes first. Like we had to leave the conference early because Matt had to work today. So,
yeah.
it's like one of those situations where you're like,
Right.
It really stinks, but we also got 4 days. He was allowed to switch his shift, so we could at least get 4 days. So it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you prioritize differently.
Yep.
Better, I think, in this life. And you stay mad for, I think, a much shorter period of time. Like, you let go of things pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
You get pretty, it's not to say that we don't get mad, because we get rippling. We got tempers on it. So,
oh, yeah.
But we also can kind of reassess pretty quickly and reprioritize, or remember real priorities of things, and realize that things are a lot smaller than what we're making them out to be in the moment.
Right.
A hell of a skill, I think.
Yeah, he left today. I don't know if I'm going to get him back.
Right.
I don't know. And I sit here and I realize that even during this conversation, he may get a call, and it may be the one, and that's always there. It's always there. And as a spouse, you can't let yourself live in that, because if you get stuck in that, you're not going to make it. But just accept it. Just accept that this is the reality, and continue to live, because that's the best way to do it.
In a work way, it's really a blessing to have that knowledge.
It is. You don't let the little things really get to you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You value everything that you have, and all the moments that you get. You understand that. So in that weird way, it becomes kind of a blessing, even though it's scary as hell.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, that's fantastic advice. So on the money. So on point. All right, so we're going to do a couple funny ones here. You ready? Okay. Now, these are the ones we always hear. We all laugh about together. We all get a chuckle. So we're going to play a little bit of Have You Ever?
Oh,
it's not a scary one. It's not an embarrassing. So first one is always, have you ever found bullets in the washing machine?
Yes.
Any other strange places have you found them? Have there been any weird spots? I find them in drawers.
I find them in drawers, in my car, in his car. toolboxes. I have found
Oh, yeah.
toolboxes. He'll use my roller
A lint roller?
luggage,
Oh,
like
yeah.
my roller luggage to
Oh,
go to
gosh.
the range sometimes. So like I'll find them in the pockets when I try to go on vacation somewhere. I have to make sure I can check everything because Lord
Yeah.
knows you go through TSA with a bullet, you are in
Yeah.
trouble. Yeah.
There's a little bit of a problem. Okay, let's see. Have you ever had to leave a restaurant or business because your husband arrested someone there?
Oh, not because he arrested somebody, but we have been in a restaurant where we ordered the food and he got a call and we had to leave, so they packed it up before we even got our plates. But so not we haven't arrested anybody there. Although we were at a Steak and Shake once and he went into what I call cop mode.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a police spouse, you understand that
Yep.
term. And I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, that dude that just walked in did a drug deal with the cook in the back. I think we need to leave.
And this is what we do. We laugh about it, and right? Like, we laugh about it and move on. Like, other people.
Like, what are you gonna do,
know,
right?
Like, if anybody outside of our little world listen to these conversations, they'd probably be like, "And you're laughing about that?" Well, yeah, we are. What else are you gonna do?
I think maybe if I was a first-year police wife, I
Right.
don't know if I laughed then, but it's funny now because you're like, how did you see that? Like,
Yeah.
what is it in your radar that just picks that up?
Right. Yeah, I have to admit, I'm pretty oblivious when he points things out. I'm like, oh my God, really? Wow. Still, after all this time, still
Oh,
oblivious.
Lord.
That's pretty sad. But all right, so you ready? Have you ever been? Oh yeah. Have you ever been asked if he could help someone get out of a ticket?
All the time.
All the time. All the time. It hasn't
All the
happened in
time.
years. It hasn't happened in years for us because my husband started telling people, and which I adopted and started telling people that yeah, it's all electronic now, so we really have no
Yep.
control once it which is not inaccurate. Uh, let's see. Oh, this one I hear from a lot of young wives and wives whose husbands are like getting close to retirement, so they're putting in some time. But this one is, have you ever been asked if you really have a husband, like if you're out at a gathering, because they're always working, they're always at work, they work
Right.
crazy shifts. So people are like, are you sure you really have a husband?
I actually really haven't been asked that, mostly because he became a police officer later in our relationship, like a full time. So that was easier to bypass because they all knew he was real before he became a cop.
Nobody's accusing you of having a fake husband. That's
This
good.
is true. This is true.
Let's see. I got one more. Another funny one. I always think, because people ask me this all the time. Has anyone ever asked you if your husband knows what the police were doing, like 2 towns away at 3 a.m. in the morning? Do they ask you, like, did your husband know what happened?
I do that to my husband. You're like, hey, did you hear about this thing in Noblesville? He's like, why would I have heard of this thing?
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm pretty sure I've done it
Don't
too. I
you
can
guys
confirm.
talk to each other? Like, come on. You're supposed to know these things. But yes, the thing about my husband though is we live in a county everybody kind of supports each other, so I do find it funny that if I say something, he'll be like, oh yeah, that was all the way up there and blah blah blah. I mean, it's our county he kind of can do it with, but
Right.
everybody knows him and he doesn't like that everybody knows him.
Yeah, that's
And I keep trying to tell him it's because he's a good officer, he really is. And so he doesn't like to toot his own horn. I'll toot it for him for
That's
sure.
right. That's why they got us. We'll do it all day long.
All
We have
day long.
No
And
problem.
so they like to talk to him, but yeah. Otherwise, if it happened in other cities, I'll be like, hey, did you hear about the?
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been. Oh, and you know what? There's one more that I didn't add on there that I just thought of right now. When you go into like new places or new groups of people where you maybe only know like the host, do they always introduce him as this is so and so? He's a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Yeah,
husband gets
unless
that.
we have
We
to
get that
not
all the
do.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless
and
we
we're
have
always
to
like,
do.
you
Yeah.
don't have to say anything. You don't need to let everybody know. It's okay. We're good. 'Cause you guys are probably like us. If nobody asks, we'll never even mention it. Like, you'll never know unless you outright ask a direct question. And
Yeah.
even that, people have asked my husband, you know, we'll be somewhere and they'll say, oh, what do you do for a living? And he'll say, I work for the town. And then, you know, and that's
Yeah,
it.
it depends on where we are and what we're
Yeah.
doing. Like we went camping with a huge group of friends recently, and I was like, I just warned them. I'm like, guys, just so you know, for this weekend, like, he's an electrician. Okay,
there you go.
we're not gonna mention the real job that he has.
Yep.
He's the electrician. That's all he does. Just leave it at that.
Well, this has been awesome. I'm so glad you agreed to do this and chit chat with me on here. This was
Yeah.
really fun. We know each other. Where was our first connection? Was it through TikTok? Was that our
TikTok.
first? Yeah. That's
Yeah, it was
so
TikTok,
funny.
and then I read your book.
That's,
And
okay, yeah.
yeah, and then it was funny because I private messaged you because you killed off one of your people,
Yeah.
and I
Yes,
was like, you did what?
I got a lot of trouble for killing off a character in a book. Yes, I get
And
yelled at
then
for that.
all of a sudden, so then you have a live. You're in a live, and you're like, you know, sometimes you get these fans, and they're like, I can't believe you. And I was like, girl, that was me. And you were like, that was you? I'm like, yeah, that was me.
So funny. Yeah.
And that was
because we have like different usernames.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the old TikToking there. And yeah, that's been a great, fun little world. You missed a crazy life today. I'll tell you about it after this is
After.
yeah, it's wacky. But so listen, thank you so much for doing this. And
Anytime.
I hope to God this whole recording thing works on here. We'll find
If
out
not,
soon
just
enough.
let me know. I will be glad to repeat and add on.
You are the best. You were after my husband, of course, you were my best first real guest.
Yay!
So thank you so much, and we'll chat. I'll message you after this. And we'll
Awesome.
chat a little bit, but I gotta go hop on a plane. So.
All right, well, have a fun flight.
Thank you so much. You enjoy the beautiful weather that you're having. I think we've got some thunderstorms coming through our way. So,
All right.
but yeah,
All right.
this was fun. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Girl,